Let's bring you updates on the latest on what is now being called Partygate in the UK. The UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson is facing renewed anger from members of Parliament and COVID-19 bereaved families after the disclosure that his fiancée threw him a surprise lockdown birthday party, with reports that an official inquiry has uncovered appalling evidence of mismanagement at the heart of Downing Street. The senior civil servant leading the inquiry into Downing Street parties, Sue Gray, is expected to make deeply critical recommendations on overhauling Number 10's operation after hearing of repeated failures of leadership. In the latest alleged breach of rules, Number 10 admitted that Carrie Johnson held a party for the Prime Minister with up to 30 staff in attendance on 19 June 2020, despite COVID rules banning indoor social gatherings. At that time, outdoor gatherings were limited to 6 people. A report says the Prime Minister attended the party in the Cabinet Room at Number 10 at 2 p.m. on his 56th birthday, and that the interior designer, who was not a member of Number 10 staff, was there. Number 10 says the Prime Minister attended for 10 minutes and denies that he held a party later on the 19th of June in his Downing Street residence. The senior civil servant leading the inquiry into Downing Street parties, Sue Gray, is understood to have already been told about the allegations, meaning the latest expose is unlikely to delay publication of her report, expected late this week. For more on the lockdown parties saga, a broadcast journalist, Tete Kofi, joins me now from the United Kingdom. Good to have you join us.
No, it's a pleasure.
So there are a string of accusations, but basically focusing on parties in Downing Street and Whitehall. There are also 2 different investigations, one of them by the civil servant, Sue Gray, another now being conducted by the Metropolitan Police. What's your takeaway? Now, first of all, walk us through this and then talk to us about your takeaway from all of this.
Okay. I remember we all lived in London, in Britain at the time these parties allegedly happened. We haven't seen the report. We have to wait and see what the reports say. There was high anxiety across the entire society. People were being obstructed from seeing the nearest and their dearest. Mental health problems were at an all-time high. People were dying without seeing their closest family. And so the revelation that the leader, the person who imposed these lockdowns himself, was allowing parties to take place on his bailiwick, literally in his office, in the grounds of his building, was completely outrageous to the British people. There have been public petitions for the Prime Minister to resign as a result. In my lifetime in Britain, I have only once heard a Prime Minister being called a liar in Parliament. It's actually against the rules. One of the MPs said of the Prime Minister, "We want a leader, not a liar." That this is unheard of. And the reason I mention it is to go to the fact that the amount of outrage experienced by people has been incredible. Second thing is, if you look across the media, their coverage has not been exculpatory of the Prime Minister in any way, shape or form. They haven't pulled their punches. They have ladled it on nice and thick. However, this is just no ordinary Prime Minister. Some people call him the Teflon Prime Minister because, like that famous non-stick pan, nothing ever seems to stick with him. And he is being actually supported by a number of things which are running in his favor. One, the 1922 committee, which is the in-house Conservative Party responsible for appointments regarding leadership and so on and so forth, has just ruled that no more than one vote of confidence may be given against a Tory leader in the space of 1 year. Now that raises the bar for the members of the Prime Minister's party who would want to unseat him. Secondly, a very high-ranking former Met Police officer has come to say that whatever is in the Sue Gray report, which is anticipated any second now, would actually represent what he calls, quote unquote, an entry-level crime. Now, the tone of that, when a policeman speaks like that, what he's saying is that in the eyes of the law, this is something for which people are fined. It's a slap on the wrist. But of course, this is a completely different matter, because he is no ordinary citizen. He is the Prime Minister and the moral compass of the country.
And that's where someone like Starmer seems to differ. He believes that the Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, misled Congress, and that's a matter of resignation. But the Prime Minister has rebuffed calls to resign. Do you think that he can actually hang on or hold on to his job?
Oh, it is quite possible that he can hang on, because he is the most incredible political operator. Any other Prime Minister would have long gone under the weight of this kind of barrage, and yet he's clinging on. Curiously also, he is being supported by Rees-Mogg, who is the leader of the Conservative Party in the House. Now, as long as you've got his backing, you're in with a chance. And let's not forget that even though he needs 52 of his party to toss in letters of no confidence, one, they're only allowing one vote of no confidence a year, raising the bar, and two, the man has a majority of 85 seats in Parliament. So it is by no means a foregone conclusion, although the smart money would be on the fact that even Boris Johnson couldn't survive this assault.
And even though these calls, some of these calls for resignation are also from members of his party, it is unclear whether they will be able to get the more than 50 votes required to pass a vote of no confidence on the Prime Minister. We will continue to follow the actions that will be taken and who will take those actions. Thank you so much for your thoughts, as always, journalist Tete Kofi.
Pleasure.